Regular press conference by Foreign Minister Motegi will begin. Minister, please. There is one point I would like to announce. It is about the supply of vaccine from Japan to various countries. Globally, to ensure fair access to vaccine, funding secured at the recent COVAX Vaccine Summit is important. Funding, financing, and distribution of funding through international mechanism is important, and at the same time, there is increasing need for in-kind contribution of vaccine, and this is also considered very important. Japan has received requests to provide vaccine from various countries and regions, and on June 4, as a first of such supply, gratis vaccine doses were shipped to Taiwan, this time taking into account COVID-19 infection status and vaccination status in Vietnam. 1 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine manufactured in Japan are to be shipped free of cost. They will be shipped from Japan tomorrow on June 16 and are scheduled to arrive in Vietnam on the same day, including AstraZeneca. To all those who cooperated to realize the vaccine shipment, I would like to express my sincere respect to them. Continuing with these efforts, if various conditions are met in July, I believe starting from the early part of July, to Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Thailand, in a similar manner, Japan would like to ship AstraZeneca vaccines manufactured in Japan. Coordinations will be made going forward. Additional shipment to Taiwan and Vietnam will also be considered. Regarding supply of vaccines to other countries and regions, the condition of spread of variants in the world and delay in supply of vaccines and other circumstances will be taken into account. At the same time, the status of production of vaccines in Japan and requests from international community and status of infection and needs of vaccines in various countries and regions will be taken into consideration as determination is made. As for vaccines to be supplied going forward, conditions such as approval from WHO are satisfied, and if coordinations are made with COVAX, in addition to the aforementioned bilateral supply of vaccine, Japan would also like to supply vaccine through COVAX.
Those of you who have a question after being nominated, please come up to the microphone, state your name and affiliation. This is Yamamoto of NHK. You talked about the supply of vaccine just now. Rather than going through COVAX, you are responding to requests by countries. Is it because you value speed? In addition to Taiwan, Vietnam, Indonesia, and others, we are getting a vaccine from AstraZeneca, and we have an agreement with the company. If we go through an international organization, the procedures in getting approval may take time. As a matter of fact, countries are now experiencing a short supply of vaccines and also very severe spread of the vaccines. In these countries, we would like to place importance on speed in delivering vaccines.
日経の飛田です。ワクチン供与の件でちょっと追加で質問させてください。
Tobita from Nikkei, follow-up question on vaccine. In addition to the status of infection, relationship with Japan will be considered. That was your past comment in respect to the supply of vaccine. And this time, countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Thailand are selected in terms of relationship with Japan. What is your view? We are starting to take into consideration supply of vaccine to these countries, and all of them are ASEAN countries. And regarding the status of infection, it was stable in Thailand, but it is becoming serious. And in Malaysia, it is also serious. And ASEAN and Japan have maintained very important relationship, and Japan is advocating, and other countries are also pursuing free and open Indo-Pacific in order to promote this, as these countries are very important. And so status of infection in these countries, shortage of vaccine in these countries, relationship with Japan, these factors were taken into account comprehensively in making the determination.
Kim Bo-sok-san, please. I'm Kim Bom-sok of Toa Nippo of South Korea. I have a question about the G7 summit meeting and the summit meeting between Japan and South Korea. According to some Japanese media reporting today, so you said some Japanese media reported? Yes. Governments of the two countries, according to the report, before the summit, the two governments had multiple discussions about how the two leaders would make contact, and also Prime Minister Suga also prepared some comments or how he would approach the meeting in advance. So, taking this into account, I want to know the facts about the situation. How did the meeting come about, and how was it cancelled? First of all, the reporting is completely incorrect. The Korean side made some media report that the meeting was pre-arranged. This is contrary to the fact, and we clearly oppose such reporting. As I said before, at the G7 summit meeting, the time spent at the meeting on the site was limited, and with the outreach countries' leaders, it will be difficult to secure time for any meeting. Of course, there are many opportunities everywhere to have a chat and casual conversations, and such possibilities are not denied with respect to any country. We are all at the same venue, so maybe a leader would walk up to the other leader and start a conversation, and that did happen.
Yamamoto from NHK. Regarding G7 summit, what is your evaluation overall? And last time in 2019, when the summit was held in France, Minister, you attended the summit in France. And in comparison to that occasion, I believe the outcome was greater, and communique included more topics. And how do you regard the communique from the G7 summit? Globally, infection is spreading, COVID-19 infection is spreading, and international coordination and cooperation are growing in importance further, and that is commonly recognized by G7. And since spirits, a G7 meeting was held in person for the first time in 2 years. And in the meantime, there were various issues that surfaced regarding global issues, including COVID-19, climate change, free trade, global economy, global trade, regional affairs. There were major changes in these respects. Frank discussion took place on these topics, and as a result, a communique was issued with a very solid message sent out. That is my evaluation. Over a 3-day period, through the discussions, Prime Minister Suga further deepened trust relations with G7 leaders. And regarding important issues faced by international community, Prime Minister Suga actively contributed to the discussion and led frank discussion amongst the leaders, and felt a good response. It was reported, and Prime Minister Suga said that he felt a good response. Japan is the only Asian member of the G7. Realization of free and open Indo-Pacific, and increasingly strained regional affairs and other important matters were discussed, and based on the outcome of G7 Foreign Ministerial, various matters were also discussed, and where clear position as G7, the common position of G7 were also announced. And based on that G7 Foreign Ministerial, a very good communique was issued from the summit meeting.
それでは本日の
If no more questions, and that concludes the press conference for today. Thank you very much.